the 9 laps short of you. How did Briscoe get it done? He had James Small to coach him on what to do. Racing round Chicago streets, still losing to SVG. Not the greatest sound for the NASCAR sound. Bowman fight, Ross and Joey fight, yeah! Goodbye, Chicago!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I couldn't help it but laugh because that was the first time I was listening to it. Welcome on into another edition of Happy Hour. I am Bryan Nolen, alongside Mr. Dalton Hopkins, Mr. Michael Massie. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. A little jealous of you three that y'all went to Chicago. Looked like a good time.
Yeah, well, you went the first year, so I don't want to hear it.
Well, if I had gone, it would have rained again. So, because rain follows me. I'm like a cartoon character with the rain cloud just following me.
To be fair, it did rain. It just didn't rain during the race. It rained right afterward.
That is true. The guy that was with us is going to be joining us from J-Ski as well as NASCAR.com, Mr. Dustin Albino. Dusty, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
We're doing okay now. Obviously, like I said, you were with us. Obviously, you were riding for J-Ski, but you hung out with us this weekend, third time that Chicago's taken to the street course. So let's just dive on into the experience. You wanted to talk about the experience that not just this year, but all 3 years. What's on your mind?
Yeah. So I went to 2 of the 3 years. I was with Massie in 2023, and we got the rain of all rain that year. But I don't know. I feel like this was a successful event overall. And whether this is the last one in Chicago or maybe they come back next year because there's a 2-year option, we don't know yet. But overall, I just think this helps build the sport in such a capacity that we haven't seen really recently, because we've brought old school tracks back, but we really haven't had anything like this aside from maybe the Coliseum. So you're putting the race right in front of the new fans. And I think this year, 70% I saw of fans were new. First year, there was 80 something that were in attendance. So that's a way to build the sport.
Yeah, that's pretty good, because they, the 80% drowned the first year, so they had to get 70% new people to fill it up. So, but no, I thought it was a success. I think the Clash wasn't as much of a success because by year 3, nobody really cared anymore. This, on the other hand, still a good crowd year 3, and enough to where the idea of it actually coming back isn't just poo-pooed upon instantly. Whereas a lot of the other things, the Clash, Bristol Dirt, by year 3, we're kind of ready to move on. This feels like it had some enduring power. Maybe it could have become, I don't know, NASCAR's version of Long Beach or something. But I don't know. I don't know if that will happen or not. It kind of seems like we might take it somewhere else. So what do you guys think, Dalton?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like everyone I've talked to this weekend, everyone agrees this is a really fantastic event, and this has been a home run for NASCAR as a whole. So why is this now in danger of not occurring again? You said, Dustin, I find it funny because Massie said basically the same thing we were talking about a couple of days ago, still in Chicago, where I was at the Clash after 3 years, even in the third year, everyone was they knew this is it. We don't need to come back and do this again. And then with this year, I feel like a lot of people were saying, no, this is a really great event. We should maybe continue doing this if we don't go to a different track, go to a different street course. So I just can't help but feel like there are still some outside forces out there that are against this. And I guess somewhat surprisingly, it's maybe the local journalists in Chicago that appear to not like this event so much. I will not draw any attention to specific people or specific articles, but it feels like that we're still not completely welcome. As in, by we, I mean the NASCAR industry is still not completely welcome, which I don't understand because all three, Dustin, Bryan, and I, we were all there, and I feel like everybody was very much on board with this event. And it was my first time there, and I got to say, like, I am not very used to a metropolitan area, like a very large city like Chicago. I'm not used to it at all, but being there, experiencing it, eating deep dish pizza, like authentic Chicago deep dish pizza. Thank you, Dustin, for that, by the way. Being there and like seeing the city, seeing the sights, being able to walk from our hotel to the track every day and seeing like these tall buildings, tall, magnificent buildings was really, really, really cool. And I think it's just really unfortunate that we're kind of being pushed away because I kind of feel like even the Chicago mayor himself said this race, and I quote, "is become a tradition." So I don't know. Like, I don't understand why this race is suddenly in danger.
Yeah, it felt now. I was there for all 3 years. It felt different this year, and it wasn't just because of the no rain. I mean, let's be honest. It was nice. It was humid though. It was really, really humid. And Eric Jones talked about that on DBC this weekend, and he was like, he would just rather. Oh, I thought you were used to it, Dalton. I thought you were used to it.
No, see, I'm used to it. That doesn't mean I like it. Okay.
Yes, but I mean, I thought the racing was good. Obviously, we'll get to the questionable calls that affected the race and everything, but I do think another big thing was the start time got moved up 2 hours, and they got all 75 laps in, and they didn't have to shorten the race. They didn't have to delay the race anytime. They started and they finished in one setting. Obviously, you got stages, cautions, so on and so forth. But there was no rain. We did have rain tires, but there was no lightning and everything, and there was weather alerts right when we were going on pit road right after the race, saying, hey, seek shelter. Obviously, we didn't because, hashtag warrior, but that's okay. But, I mean, it felt different. I did feel, though, we were getting better and better. It wasn't like the Clash where it's like, okay, let's go to a new place. It's like, okay, sure. If we come here again, I won't be mad. But if we go somewhere else, then it'll be okay too. It was just like we're not being dependent on Chicago. So if we go somewhere, that's okay. If we stay, that's okay too.
I will say I think the local media didn't like it because like SVG won. Last year, Alex Bowman won. You can't have a Chicago hosted event where people win. The media there are so conditioned to their teams losing all the time.
Oh my god!
I'm just saying, Massie.
Didn't Michael Jordan play for the Chicago Bulls?
That was 30 years ago.
Okay, but still, like,
there's
the record ever.
There was some Packer haters in attendance, and I will not reveal what their shirt says, but it was Packer fans love, and then it was a certain disgraced rapper that is personally in court. So,
Oh, geez, which one he's talking about?
Hey, Massie.
Oh, God. God is here. Hello, God. Hello, God.
Did Aaron Rodgers get tired of winning so much? Is that why he left?
All righty, God. Knock it off. Okay, God. Okay, we're not getting tired of Aaron Rodgers. Okay, God. Anyway, James Krause said in our YouTube comments, we love a tradition that hinges on contract extensions to keep happening. That's true. You're not wrong there, James. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in terms of if it keeps coming back, if it doesn't. Any last words on our first topic of the day, gentlemen?
It just felt like compared to a couple years ago, and maybe it's because of the weather primarily, but the buzz was just more electric this year, I thought. And like Dalton was saying, like I'm not really accustomed to being in a big metropolitan area either, and it was so easy to navigate. You got food everywhere. You can take your pick. people were going around, journalists were going around this weekend asking the drivers, they want to keep this event, they want to move it. A lot of drivers had some opinions one way or the other. And like Kyle Larson, who's, one of the faces of the sport, said like this is his favorite event in NASCAR every year. And, when you hear a driver say that, you kind of push back on it. You're like, really? Like, and why wouldn't it be? Everything is at your fingertips of what you would want in a weekend at a track.
And this guy drives me insane, but Michael Finley, you did a good comment here. NASCAR has purposely downplayed the music festival aspect of it, and that is true. Like the past couple of years, there's four concerts. We just had one, and it was on the front stretch after the race. So that is a big thing, and obviously the mayor has wanted it off the July 4th weekend. If it does come back, I would be very surprised to see it on July 4th, if it comes back at all. If it does come back, more than likely it'll be probably later in July or somewhere. I'm just speculating here. So it is interesting that first couple years were, okay, it's going to be a music festival with a race. Now it's going to be a race with a concert after. It is interesting to see the dynamic from year to year, from year 2 to year 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we do come back, if they don't want to put it back on the July 4th, I don't think that should be the nail in the coffin. That shouldn't be the hill that NASCAR dies on. Like in hosting this event off of 4th of July weekend. Like why? Like yeah, go ahead. Like let's move the track date. That's fine. Like honestly, if anything, I actually kind of prefer it that way because I mean Brian and I came in and on a subway on Friday night and we missed most of the fireworks. We had to watch the fireworks from the city outside of like these darkened subway train windows. So me, like I love watching fireworks at 4th of July. So that's a tradition, obviously. So I had to miss that. But it's unfortunate because I do think if we're gonna have a street race, I think why not this one? Why not this race? Like this race has done a great job at hosting. Everyone seems to love it, except for some people in Chicago, I guess. And not to mention, and Dustin, I wanted to mention this point, but like you and I were talking about this again a couple nights ago, and which was, it's a really good course. It's a really good street course. Like
great course, physical.
Maybe the best one we've got. When it comes to road courses, that is. Like because Denny Hamlin said on his Actions Detrimental podcast, in which there was probably about 4 or 5 passing zones, which makes it kind of fun. Like, and not to mention, you said it too, Dustin, like the track wears out, it wears out the tires. And I feel like it's so ironic to see a track that isn't actually a racetrack wear out tires more than an actual racetrack does. So especially with the next gen cars. So I'm worried if we do move from the Chicago race to say San Diego happens, if we do go to a different city to do a street race, I'm worried that maybe that course doesn't do as well because it's not planned as properly, and suddenly we hate street racing again, which shouldn't happen because this is a good track, this is a good course. So if that's the hill that if that's the hill, like don't die on it. Like just move the date, fine, whatever. Let's play ball.
Run it in December if they want you to run it then.
Do it in the snow. Slap the snow tires on. Make it the Christmas special.
Oh god!
Hey, Josh
Take the drivers away from their families during the holidays.
Josh Bilicki's gonna look good if that happens. The snow
that's the case. I might enter.
Yeah.
my man. Moving. Oh, Massie, last thing before we.
I was just gonna say, yeah. The only way I do want it off the schedule is if San Diego does happen, just because I don't want 2 street races. I only want one. I want one, but I don't want more than one. And I think, I don't know, we're kind of in I get you need something in Southern California, but I'm also of the belief that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And right now, Chicago is not broken. And like what we saw Sunday was a million times more entertaining than what we're going to see this coming Sunday at Sonoma Raceway, which I maintain is the worst road course in NASCAR. But we can move on now.
Polar Nights. I was just about to say that. God, thank you. I love this show. I get to see every stage of beard growth. What an absolute comment.
What a
that
comment.
Is spectacular.
All of them, everyone's except for mine. I have to constantly shave mine.
You have the mustache. You have the mustache.
spectacular.
I got the mustache. I have to trim that too, though, so that has to get trimmed constantly.
What an absolute banger of a comment. And you know what else is a banger? Is all of our content on Frontstretch. But folks, we need your help. It is not cheap to go to all of these races. So if you have the funds, please donate to frontstretch.com/donate. We very, very appreciate you. You can check out all of our latest content on our YouTube channel, frontstretch.com/YouTube, and our website, frontstretch.com. So now on into topic number 2, and I think it was a couple weeks ago. It may have been my debut show where we talked about SVG winning in Mexico City. It was the Jeff Gluck episode, and were we talking about, is he just going to take up a spot? Well, he's got 2 wins now, and I think people are now officially saying he's not just going to be taking up a spot. So it is up to you guys. Where do we see SVG starting the playoffs? I mean, he's got 2 wins. He could get another one this upcoming weekend. There is an actual path into him going into the round of 8. Just how far could he go?
It's a good question. I mean, yeah. I think he's got to win at least one of the final 2 road courses, right? You would think, with how dominant he's been. Obviously at Mexico, and then last week he just put a full race together. Like, he didn't dominate that race; he was just there when it counted, and he clearly did have the best car all weekend. But I mean, if he gets a 3rd win this weekend, he's tied for the most wins in the series, and he's as high as he can get this weekend is 26th in points. So he can only gain 1 spot. So I don't know. Like, he has what, 11 playoff points now, so he'd have 16, at least 16. So. That's getting up there, man. That is getting up there.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced enough at his oval abilities, and like that first round, like we see guys with big playoff point buffers, and we're always like, oh, they're automatically gonna make it to this round or championship 4 or whatever. I mean, like Kevin Harvick, 2020, perfect example where. A lot of playoff points, and he misses the championship 4. And I think the same deal, like, if SVG goes out those first 3 races in the playoffs and runs 30th, like, he's probably not going to move on. But, there's also that chance for other people to take themselves out. And if he just takes care of his stuff, the problem I've seen is it seems like a lot of oval races, he's spinning out. He needs to just settle down, run his own race, finish these things, run all the laps, and then I think there's a chance for him to move on. But if he's going to be spinning out in those first 3 playoff races, he ain't moving on. But yeah, the Roval is a good opportunity. I will say, I don't think he has the advantage at the Roval that he has at Mexico or Chicago. I think there's another guy, AJ Allmendinger, that is going to have something to say about the Roval. That's kind of his track. I think he has the deed for it. So I don't think he's going to go very far personally. I think I'll go ahead and say I think he'll be around 1 exit, but you never know. That's why they run the races.
Yeah, I will chime in and say that he did say Darlington is one of his favorite tracks and is one of his better tracks, and that's the first race of the round of 16.
So
he good point. He likes Bristol too.
No, he doesn't.
No, he does not.
He doesn't love Bristol. I thought I heard. Okay,
no, he said he might as well be driving the other way.
Oh, okay. Well, then I heard something different then.
That was an exact quote.
Okay, then okay.
But he's never been to Gateway either, which is in the first round this year. So I think, to Massey's point, like, it is going to come down to if people take each other out. That's how he's going to get through.
I think it comes down to how big of a cushion he builds. Like, I mean, like you said, Dustin, like, he's going to win at least one of them. I think he wins both of them. I think he wins this weekend. I think he wins again at Watkins Glen. And then he's got a 4-win cushion. So that's 20 points, not including the stages. So the stage wins that he'll have. So let's say, I don't know, get 1 stage win each. So that's 24 points heading into the first round. I don't really know if he actually gets any further than that. I don't know if I think it gets eliminated in the first round, but I mean, unless he gets lucky, unless some crazy shenanigans occur and he actually just kind of holds a pretty wheel and makes sure he gets like some solid top 20, top 15 finishes. That's fine. If he can survive until the Roval, I think he'll be okay. That said, I think what really upsets me is people keep saying that he's just taking up a spot like in the playoffs, and he's got 2 wins now. Like, I mean, people were saying the same thing about Harrison Burton last year, and after he got that 1 win at Daytona, people were saying the same thing about some like other drivers. Like the first one that comes to mind is Chris Buescher at Pocono in 2016. Like,
yeah,
this is not that. This is different. Okay, this isn't a fluke win. This is Shane Van Gisbergen and Justin Marks specifically hired him to dominate and kick ass on the road courses. He is doing that. That's exactly what he hired him to do. So, and to make the playoffs, and not only make the playoffs, but enter the round as maybe the number 1 seed, which I don't know, man. Like at this point, after this weekend, he could be at least like top 3, so he'll be up there. I think that he's doing exactly what they hired him to do. This is the sport now. We have 6 road courses. You had to expect this was going to happen at some point.
Yeah, who's taking up more of a playoff spot? Him, who's won 2 races, or like in the 2010s when Jamie McMurray pointed his way in, and he never got top 10 in points in his whole career, and you knew he had 0 shot at the title. Same with like, sorry, Michael Finley, but Paul Menard when he pointed his way into the playoffs. Like, I feel like those were bigger waste of a playoff spot than a guy who's actually won races, gotten in there. I do have a proposal though and it'll never happen, but for those that don't like the whole fact that a guy, well, now he's 27th in points, is going to all of a sudden get 16th in points, at worst money. And that's, we're never getting playoffs, right? TV and everything is all about the playoffs on the driver's side. What if on the owner's side, we just went by season-long points? And it'd be like a different battle, just another storyline to follow. And you didn't, like, it was just straight up 36 races, whatever. That way it's truly based off the performance of the season for the payout, charter-wise. But you have the electric winning in moments on the driver's side of the playoffs. That's my fix to the solution, which I'm sure someone will poke 1,000 holes in.
I really want to be like, oh yeah, he's just not going to, but I truly feel like there's going to be chaos and everything. And I feel like, no, Michael Finley, you do not get a free sandwich. We don't have a sandwich sponsor. But if Jimmy John's or what's that? Jersey Mike's wants to sponsor us, please hit up our sales guy, Derek Giller. I have an idea. Or he definitely would love to talk with you. But I digress. I do feel like SVG, I kind of what Dalton said. He's got to get how big of a buffer. Let's say he wins in Sonoma on Sunday. Then he wins in Watkins Glen. He's got 20 playoff points. Then he's got the stages. All he has to do, don't crash, don't have any mechanical failures or anything. Just survive. Get to that round of 12. You win, and you're going to the round of 8. And crazier things have happened. You never know. And I was listening to the teardown, and they're saying a lot of road course drivers love racing at Martinsville. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win at Martinsville. Obviously, that would be bonkers. But I'm saying that he can have a good finish. Obviously, it is a long way from that. But it's definitely going to be something to watch for. And I think James has a good argument, saying, I feel like the argument becomes, why do we have 16 spots? Like, do we really think SVG or Josh Berry is going to contend for a title? Here's the thing. It's like, we see this in the NFL. We see this in the MLB. They're increasing. They're increasing. So I think it's just the nature of the beast. God, you had something. What do you have for the playoffs?
So I've not heard this floated anywhere on any podcast from anybody in the industry, any of the drivers. A fluid playoff system. If you win, you're in the top 16. If you start to lose points and wreck and have a crappy stretch, you fall out to where you are in points. If you win again, you go up to where you are, up to where that 2-win mark might be in points. You start to slide off and have a bad season again, you can get bumped back out. So you're not guaranteed to be locked in. You can just get an advantage to get into the top 16 with a win, but you're not locked in. Because if you say Shane Van Gisbergen wins a road course, finishes 30th the rest of the season, he's going to fall out of that top 16 based off the other drivers, and then he's going to go back to wherever he is in points.
God
So
has a very heavy Southern accent.
God, I'm not smart enough to articulate what you just said.
Okay, so if you win a race, if SVG wins a road course next year, if this was the scenario, he'd be in the top 16. Wherever that one win if he's the first winner, number one. If SVG finishes 30th for like the next 10 races and loses points, and people start passing him, getting in that top 16, he will fall back to where he was in the regular season standings outside the top 16. But if he won again, he would jump back up. But if he starts to suck again, he can fall back out. So it's a fluid system.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that makes more sense now. It's just like, where is that line of like, okay, do you have to have a certain amount of points and 10 races to stay with your position or something? Because, and then people are going to be like, oh, this is rigged, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it opens up a can of worms. And
well, last year you would have the one upset you would have in this scenario would be Harrison Burton at Daytona last year, because he would have actually won the last cutoff race to get in that top 16. So that'd been the Cinderella Game 7 he won to get in. Whereas like if he won, say, 3 weeks before that and started and sucked and he fell out, then he would have made it.
I think
so. It's a fluid point. It's a fluid point system.
I think that kind of reduces the whole winning you're in aspect of it that NASCAR is going for. Yeah. But that's what NASCAR wants. They want that. They want that ability for somebody to win a race and automatically their season is saved, which is what they want to have drivers fight over. I mean, if that was the case, Justin Marks would have never hired Shane Van Gisbergen in the first place.
Yeah,
which is I don't necessarily disagree with that idea. I don't necessarily agree with it either. I think the whole thing is like, I feel like I've already seen comments on Twitter about how people are tired of Shane Van Gisbergen winning on the road courses, and it's only been 3 cup races that he's won. I think you should. This is kind of unprecedented. We haven't seen somebody hired specifically only for the road course prowess to make, and knowing that they will make the playoffs because of it. I think they have tried. Marcos Ambrose was part of that. AJ Allmendinger has been part of that, but nobody has been like, this guy is going to make it. He is going to make the playoffs because he's going to win a road course. It's going to happen. Other than SVG. Like, he's the first guy I can definitely say he's going to win a road course race no matter what. Like, he's just that good. So that is, you can be upset about that. That's fine. But that's the nature of the sport nowadays, that we have road courses. We have 6 road courses now. And that's what NASCAR wants to do, because the next gen car, in some cases, works on road courses, especially with the street racing.
Nate Gravy 123. It's funny how the narrative of the SVG has gone from the perfect storm to is he the best road racer in NASCAR? We were trying to tell y'all. Are you from Australia, Nate? Like, who is we? No one could have told us this. Obviously, we could have told he was going to be good, but I mean, Will Brown's come from Australia and hasn't done anything. Cam Waters. I mean, like, come on. But I like James. I like your idea. Bring back the wild card, the top 10 in points. 2 spots for winners outside of it. I think that's a good idea.
Bring back the chase. Just bring look. We got to get away from this debate of like what the playoff should be, because that's a whole different argument.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. And like, look, the way sports are going, all sports, we're not reducing the amount of people as much as I would like it to. We're not reducing. I think we're closer to letting 32 teams in the playoffs.
True that.
We already are. We just did, Massey. It's called the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it, like, it's like, compare it to basketball, for just right. Like, there's 30 teams in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
16 of them make Well, now there's even more because of the
The
play-in.
play-in tournament, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's too
20
many.
teams have a chance of winning the championship. Like that's 2/3 of the whole field. So when you look at NASCAR, like it's nothing like that. But I like that comment, like about SVG being the best road course racer ever. I'm on the side that he is, because if you look at the competition now, it is so much more stacked than it was when Jeff Gordon was winning in the 90s and in the early 2000s. You have 6 road courses, so you have to be good at them. The drivers are simming the hell out of the road courses they're testing, and so I think he's the best. And what he's done immediately, he's won 3 of the 9 starts. It's hard to beat.
Dustin,
Yeah.
question for you with that comment. Does SVG beat Jeff Gordon's record, or does the field catch up to him with whatever time he has in Cup?
I mean, I got to lean on SVG, right? Because we have so many of them now. If we have even 5 a year, if he wins 2 or 3 a year, he's going to be there pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's only 36, and like you said, with as many road course races as we have, like if Jeff was in today's day and age of having 6 road course races, who knows how many wins he would have had.
And,
I mean, it would have been incredible. Shout out to you, Nate. Thanks for having an Australian guy be a part of Happy Hour. So shout out you, James Krause. I do love that SVG wasn't able to get into the in-season tournament because he was outside the top 32. And by the end of the tournament, he might be third. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, James. I mean, yeah. I mean, Ty Dillon may win the in-season tournament. So if you want to know how that's going, but that's a story
Zane
for a different
Smith
day.
could do it.
Speaking of Zane Smith, great segue. He's going to be on Bringing the Heat tomorrow with Trey Lyle. So make sure you stay tuned to the Frontstretch Podcast Network. That is a beautiful transition, Dalton Hopkins. Good job, buddy.
Well,
Trey,
I did want to
Trey-
say about
Go ahead.
James's other
Matt.
comment where he said, "Do you really think SVG and Josh Berry are championship threats?" SVG, no. Josh Berry is in the Penske stable. Yeah, James. The 4 biggest championship threats right now are Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry. They've mastered the system. I'm not counting Josh Berry out of this thing.
Honestly, you're not wrong. I mean, what a story that would be to see the Wood brothers get a championship.
Yeah, that'll be
awesome. That'll be awesome. Any final thoughts on this second topic before we dive on into to Mr. Dalton Hopkins? Going once, going twice, spectacular. You know what else is spectacular? That is My Place Hotels. My Place is the official hotel sponsor of Frontstretch.com. They got premium, fantastic beds. They're pet friendly. I know, Dusty. I know you got a dog. I got 2 dogs. So you can bring them on the road if you want. 10% off your next stay at Frontstretch or at My Place using the code Frontstretch. Once again, Frontstretch is the place. Every time, Dalton, you were in Nashville, you stayed at My Place. We were, the 3 of us were in Indy. We stayed at My Place. Fantastic. Make My Place your place today. Once again, code Frontstretch. Dalton, what is on your mind, brother?
Yeah, well, what is on my mind is the thing that I guess the 3 of us, Brian, Dustin, and I, we all experienced at the track post race, which was the post race altercations. Some of the hurt feelings that occurred after the race. With Joey Logano and Ross Chastain, the other one being Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman. We got quotes from both Alex Bowman and Joey Logano, and you guys can go check that out on our Frontstretch YouTube page. And I also wrote an article about it post race as well, so you can check that out on Frontstretch.com. But yeah, some I guess hurt feelings, but Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman, they've come out and said they kind of squashed their beef. So I don't really know. I don't think that's going to carry on, but Ross Chastain at it again, and then Joey Logano, who has been in multiple altercations, I guess you could say, as well. So I saw them on pit road. I saw Logano very heated after the race. I really want some lip reader to look at the video that I posted of Logano talking to Ross Chastain, because I would love to know what they said. Logano believes that we heard him. We definitely didn't. It wasn't that loud. So I'd like to know what he said, but yeah, it's interesting because Joey just comes back. He's walking back to his crew after I was right next to him when he's done talking to Ross, and he's walking back to his crew, and he's like, God, like I'm gonna say it. He's like, God damn, like he's actually upset. Like he just doesn't learn. It's honestly so funny because it's Ross Chastain, you know, it's Ross Chastain being aggressive. So I wonder if I'm really curious as to how you guys perceived this whole altercation. I guess we should probably go into Joey and Ross first, and maybe talk about Bubba and Alex, but that story's been kind of told. They're just more of like a misunderstanding. But like Joey and Ross, Joey says, "Hey, I got hit from behind." Ross seems to disagree. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see what you guys think. Dustin, you were there with me. What'd you think?
I would assume when Ross sees the replay and all the replays that, you know, all the onboard cameras, that he might want that one back. I mean, it depends on what camera you're looking at it, but it looks like Austin Cindric, and maybe he got it from behind, but he kind of just sailed it off in there and got into Larson, I think it was, and then Larson got into Joey got into Ross, so it was just chaos. That was a very physical race, especially at that time, because I think that was the second to last restart, so the laps are winding down. You know that it's going to get physical. I don't know. These two drivers, it's so ironic that they're the ones caught up in it because they are so similar. They are so similar.
That's what I was going to bring up, the irony of it all.
Yeah, and so, I don't know. Maybe it squashes over, maybe not, but I don't know. Joey was pretty pissed off.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, we always talk about Chastain getting neutered, but I mean, won't it sometimes? I mean, oh god. Apparently, Michael Massie was so disgusted by what I was about to say, but that's all right. There is a big storm.
He's the one who said it first.
Exactly. I'm just the messenger. I'm just repeating stuff. But it feels like, I mean, we always talk about Chastain getting neutered. Maybe the bad boy's starting to come out again. I mean, sometimes he just loses his mind, while Joey Logano always loses his mind in the race car. It's so funny because like he's one of the best people to talk to when we're in the media scrums and everything. But like when he gets focused and is in the race car, he flips a switch and it's like so focused. It is just mind boggling to see, and it is fun because it's so entertaining. Nate Gravy 123, he was at turn 2 when Joey spun. They were all playing Dodgem cars. It's true. Like once you like funnel into turn, like going into 1 and then 2 and then to 6, all you're doing is playing like bumper cars and everything. And we saw that with the turn 3 or not the turn 3. I think what wreck did host of our cause? Turn 10. It's turn 10. So we saw the turn 10 wreck. I mean, there's nothing there. So like, we see all of the shenanigans happening and everything. And so, I mean, you're going to get hurt feelings. It was hot. It was humid. There, obviously, when you're like that, you're going to get a little tense and everything. So, apparently Massey's audio is having an aneurysm, but that's okay.
He's got a storm right now. I think that's why he left.
I lost
Massie,
Wi-Fi, so I'm on my phone now.
Messi, does it ever not rain and storm where you are?
Tuesday night. It's clockwork.
This is like the second week in a row this has occurred. Have you ever just considered like not living there?
Thank you. I keep telling him that.
No. Well, I went to Chicago for year 1. What happened?
It rained.
Wherever I go.
Yeah.
I could go to Phoenix and it would rain.
That's true.
I'm sending a flood his way. So he needs to build an ark.
It was 102 degrees here today, so please send some my way, Mr. Michael Massie. But I digress. For us and Joey, they're two such hard-headed people. If they don't get their way, they're gonna bitch and moan, and if they get hurt, then they're gonna bitch and moan. No matter what, they're not gonna be happy unless they're in victory lane. So that is what it is. For Bowman and Bubba, I talked with Bowman after the race with Jeff Glock and Jordan Bianchi, and Bowman was like, "Yeah, I thought our little dust up was over with, but I guess it's not now. And then we saw it was some reporter they were all walking back to the haulers, and Bubba and Bowman started talking and everything, and it was kind of one of them was smiling, but it was kind of like a sarcastic half-ass smile. It was like, okay, you're an ass, and then they move on. So we'll have to see and wait what happens there. But everybody's getting hurt, and like Michael Finley said, Dalton, don't forget the comedy segment of the broadcast. Austin Dillon calling Carson Osvar the dumbest driver in NASCAR. Yeah, I mean, God bless him. I mean, DBC doesn't even call him his name anymore. It's just the driver of the number 77 car. So, I mean, what can you do, right, Dustin?
Yeah, with the Bowman and the Bubba incident, my colleague Zach Albert at NASCAR.com, he got caught up with both even after everyone else did. I think he got Bubba at the care center. He got Bowman at the hauler. And it seems like it's pretty much a done deal. Like, Bowman wishes he could have took back some of the comments that he told us, and Bubba really, I think Bubba took ownership of the incident. So I think that one's a done deal. But you look at it, and it's so ironic as well that it happened at Chicago, where they've had a lot of history in the past. So, and too, like dating back to, I think it was 2018 or 2019 at the Roval. Like they've always found each other. So, they're going to race around each other for years to come. So maybe this continues on eventually, but I think it's a done deal.
Yeah, that whole incident, I do think it's a done deal, but I don't know what Bubba was thinking there. Like, you're trying to hold off a guy with fresher tires, and you're not going to hold him off for 6 laps. And like, you're trying to point your way into the playoffs as well.
That's it right there, Massie. That's it. The playoff aspect.
Like, just settle for 7th, 8th, whatever, or they raced for 8th, right? Settle for 10th. Take your losses and you move on. So, like, I could tell watching that on TV for about 30 seconds. I was like, they're about to wreck each other. And when you have that much time to process it, as a loud thunder.
Okay, now we heard that one.
God, just chill out. Okay, he's talking right now.
I said I was sending a flood. Jeez.
Well, stop. You've had enough of that.
Let's get through the show first, okay? But yeah, when you have enough time to actually think these guys are about to wreck each other, I think the drivers have enough time to actually be like, oh, let's settle down and not do this. But that it was still just a racing deal. I didn't think much of that after hearing both the drivers speak and kind of looking back at it and whatnot. The Chastain thing, I haven't seen the penalty report yet.
No penalties. He
should have been penalized. If he admitted to wrecking Logano on purpose, we saw Austin Cindric get docked 50 points earlier this year for wrecking Ty Dillon at Coda. Denny Hamlin for when he admitted a few years ago to just rubbing Chastain to take him with him. He got docked for 25 points. Chastain should have been penalized for that deal. I think both guys getting into it, it's like an inevitable thing where it's two guys that aren't going to give an inch and are very much don't put themselves in other people's shoes in certain matters. So it's good for NASCAR to have them clashing. I think you want them clashing for race wins and stuff. It'd be wildly entertaining. But still, I was shocked to not see Chastain on the penalty report. I absolutely thought he should have been docked points or fined some money or something for just intentionally wrecking a guy.
He apparently he told Logano that he did, but if it's not on the podcast, like Denny Hamlin, apparently you don't get fined. So, right, Dalton?
I guess. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, with the fact that he should have been fined. I think if he didn't outright say it, like he never outright said it to like the media. Only person who said it was Joey Logano. No, and maybe I don't necessarily agree with that either. I think if you don't outright admit to it, I'm not necessarily sure if maybe you should be fined. It's very difficult because it's so obvious, right? It's so obvious, and like even him talking to Joey, like afterward, by his facial expression, his body movement, his body language, you could tell. Like he was saying, like, "Yeah, I wrecked you." Yeah, like like he was nodding his head and everything. Like, so yeah, it's really tough. It's a really tough call. I don't know how NASCAR can go along with that and fine him, dock him points, what have you. It's a really tough call. I don't agree with what Ross did necessarily. I think he was in the wrong there. And I don't really know what more you can do. And Joey even said, "Oh, there goes Massie. Got him."
Oh,
I
oh
really
God,
know-
we told you. All we have is like 15 more minutes, God, and you couldn't give us that.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, thank you, God. Thank
I
you.
was just switching back.
Computer's
I
back.
saved them. I saved
Thank
him.
But well, I lost my train of thought. There it goes. Yeah, no, I don't necessarily agree with what Ross did. I think he was in the wrong, but Joey also said to me, to the video, he was going to race him the same for moving on. So maybe he shouldn't. I don't know.
Looking at our comments, David Tharp says 35. So shout out Riley Herbst. Thank you, David. James Krause. James Krause says, Massie, you wouldn't dare suggest NASCAR's inconsistent in their officiating, would you? Well, James, it's funny you asked that. Let's dive on
What
in.
a fantastic segue.
Let's dive on into our final segment. I was waiting for that. So thank you. Massie, you have some thoughts on officiating this past Sunday.
Well, so there's two real hot topics about when it comes to cautions from Sunday's race. One of them was the Josh Berry wreck. He sat there for like a lap. Like Denny said, he saw him twice. And like the caution, it took like a lap and a half for it to be called. And then at the end of the race, that's the bigger one. Cody Ware. I mean, I'm glad Cody's okay. Because that absolutely just
Crazy
destroyed the entire barrier there. And that was another deal where they waited like 34 seconds to throw a caution until they took the white flag. And I don't know, what do you guys make of the whole deal? Like the Cody Ware thing, I think especially Barry's hit wasn't that hard really, so I could see them waiting. But the Cody thing, like if you saw that live, if you're seeing that in the moment, you're hitting the caution button and think, what do you guys think?
I want to ask, and I don't know, I don't think Dalton or Massie know. Dustin, please ask me, or please let me know if this is right. But Denny Hamlin said that the NASCAR officiating people were officiating the race from Charlotte.
That's what he said, yes.
Yeah, okay. So I was just making sure if you heard something differently. So that's maybe one thing. I mean, now obviously for those that don't know, that they're usually above the track at normal tracks. For the Chicago Street Course, they don't have anybody. I mean, you saw the announcers. I think they're just like in a little trailer doing the race from the monitors. So I mean, it's not the best for them either. But they were on site, as we saw from Junior and Steve on the pre and post race. But that Cody Ware hit, that was scary as hell, man. I mean, the raw video that I saw on Twitter and X, the Everything app, you hear him and it's like, boom. I mean, it was frightening, and I talked with Cody after. He said a brake rotor just failed, and he was surprised because Jeff Gluck of The Athletic timed it out, and it was 45 seconds. And so it was very frightening. Tommy Baldwin was on DBC and says that was probably the toughest hit that the Next Gen has ever had. I don't think old and fat, the 51 impact number, I don't think it's come out yet. But it's definitely scary. But I mean, like we saw it last year, Kyle Larson winning the Tower Barrier instant caution, and I think there's a plethora of reasons why. There was weather coming in, and obviously they're never going to admit that. But I mean, there was definitely a factor for that, in my opinion. Because let's say they throw a caution there, then you get a random bolt of lightning. You have to wait 30 minutes to run 2 laps, and then you got to come in and get rain tires or something. There's just so many different variables to come on. I really did not think NASCAR wanted all the hassle for all of that to happen, because the grandstands would have had to leave too, and they wanted to. I bet they wanted to have the fans see the finish of the race. So I mean, I don't think they were trigger happy whatsoever, Dalton.
Yeah, it's I don't know if I'd like to play devil's advocate.
I mean, you can
look. So the field. So I want to get this straight. So SVG was exiting turn 11. Is that what I heard correctly? Like he was exiting turn 11 when Cody Ware initially hit the wall. So you go from turn 11 down that small little short straightaway over the hill, and then you go through turn 12 and you head the start finish line. That's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of time to kind of process what is occurring, and not to mention the officials are officiating the race from remote area back in Charlotte. Very, very difficult to say. There it is. Throw it out right now, because I mean, communication could be delayed. I mean, I don't know. We saw that happen quite a bit actually this weekend. That wasn't just the only wreck where it kind of felt like it took a while to actually put out the caution, and not to mention that car was in the barrier, and we have seen cars hit the barrier and then back up and then continue on. So it's maybe they were like, okay, well, maybe he can continue. Maybe he can back up and keep doing it. And it's like you said, Brian, they don't want to put out the caution, because what if they put out the caution and Cody Ware could back up and continue on? Oh my God, like that'd be another hellstorm, because it would just be like, then the lightning would occur, then the rain would occur, then you'd probably get a giant pile up in turn 1, or you'd get delayed because of lightning and you have to wait however long, 30 minutes, and then another lightning strike, and darkness is approaching. It's 5:30 local time at that point. Like, it just becomes a massive crap show. Wouldn't you rather just end the race and watch SVG win? Because he was gonna win anyway. Like, just end it right there. I mean, I know Tyler Reddick was getting close, but he was not going to pass SVG in the last lap. If there was a restart, oh my God. Okay, yeah. If there was a restart, maybe. I mean, but like in that last restart, okay, sure. But Denny Hamlin said it himself on his own podcast. Like, you want the guy who's earned the win to win. SVG, without a doubt, earned that win. He was the winner of that race. He earned that. He didn't just take it. So, and I think if Tyler Reddick won, ironically, Tyler Reddick we're talking about, if he took that lead on the last lap, he wouldn't really have, I don't know if you could say he earned it. So that's my thought. Dustin, what do you think?
Yeah, so I honestly think it's kind of simple. And Brad Moran, the managing director of the Cup Series, went out on Sirius today and said, like, if they had a clear shot of it, like, they would have called it initially. They would have called the caution, but there was no live camera shot of it. There was, but it was there late. There wasn't any impact. They didn't show the impact live.
Mm-hmm. So you just saw a car just sitting there.
In a tire barrier, and we've seen that, like you said, Dalton, plenty of times. So you don't know if he can back out, if he's stuck. Obviously, it was a big hit, and they would want that back. He mentioned that today on Sirius. So I think it's pretty simple, and they were pretty lenient with their officiating all weekend, I thought, in terms of, like Massie said with Josh Berry, a lap, and there was the Stenhouse incident with the Logano Chastain incident. Stenhouse was caught up in that. He was struggling to get off the track. They held off on throwing the caution. I don't think they threw it, right? So yeah, I think it's kind of simple. They admitted they missed it, but there was really nothing they can do. And they were officiating from Charlotte, but I can't remember the name. They're in the new studios. It might be even just called The Wall. But there's a bunch of monitors in Charlotte, And it's easier to officiate a race that way than being at the track. As crazy as that might sound. So, yeah, I just think they missed it, and they admitted that.
I mean, it is kind of easier to cover a race so in different terms. I mean, for us, we got the in max cameras, we got scanners and everything, we got the TV, so we have different things. For them, they got like you said, a whole wall and everything. But I mean, like, still, I still would like them to be on assignment at the track. But I mean, this was a different circumstance. So I totally get it. Looking at a couple of the comments here, Michael Finley says they should clarify in the rules that if NASCAR declares a wet race or if there's lightning hold in overtime, the race is automatically called. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they put that in the rule book for next year. I mean, I could see that happening. 1,000%. Devin says if Tyler would have won, he would have earned it because he went through the field and he passed SVG. Listen, he had fresh tires and he was gaining, and there's going to be a plethora. Ty Gibbs would have came on the front row, and he would have tried to get a playoff spot, and he would have tried to win his first ever race. Tyler Reddick had fresh tires. You had Denny Hamlin coming back from 40th, and then you had Kyle Busch in 5th. I mean, that would have been incredible. And then James says, so wait, did they not have a live shot of turn 6 or did they? And nobody saw it. Either way, how? I don't know where the camera was at. We saw the three of us were like between 1 and 6, and there was a camera way above us that was looking down on 6. So I do think they did have the camera on 6. I don't know. But I mean, we could have, would have, should have all night long.
There was a camera on 6 as I was watching the broadcast, and there was a tire carcass laying out of turn 6 for the rest of the race, and they just left it there.
Okay, thank you, God.
Whoever lost that tire,
that'd be Chase Briscoe. Briscoe
lost it. So that tire was sitting there on exit when they had the shot of the cars coming out of that corner. I was on our watch party thing with Mike Neff and Wyatt, and I'm like, "There's a freaking tire carcass laying right there." So, yeah, they missed that too.
The track official in that corner was holding the blue and yellow flag. Essentially,
it was a blue flag.
Yeah, meaning a local caution. So that explains that.
So there was somebody there, a track worker there.
Yeah, they almost got their arm taken off.
Yeah. If you rewatch the video, yeah,
he should have been on the radio screaming for a caution. If he wasn't, then I don't know what he's
fired. Michael Massie wants him fired. He wants him fired. But
I will say so. Ironically, like I was walking down pit road as we were getting ready to do our post race, getting some audio for post race, and I was ironically in the 51 pit stall because it was right near like 26-ish, which is where the cars were stopped. They had no idea that it happened. And then if you listen to the audio, like it lines up, and obviously that's kind of a hard place to spot with all the tree lines, especially right there in turn 6. They had no idea until I don't know, maybe 10 seconds passed or so. So it just an odd situation. It sucks because that was a huge hit for Cody Ware, and I'm glad he's okay. Like you said, Brian, Tommy Baldwin, competition director at Rick Ware Racing, said that was NASCAR told him that was the hardest head-on hit in the next gen era. So just let's be thankful that he's okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's the most important thing above all else. Brian, should I give the cheese residue theory or not? That I'd give on Twitter.
That's what you're here for.
I don't know. Is it? Are we gonna get Dustin in trouble?
No,
he's not.
I'm just kidding when I say this.
Oh, God.
The problem is the guy in the tower with the caution.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
He had one hand in the bag of Cheetos. One hand in the bag of Doritos. And look, you don't want to get the caution button dirty. So you got to clean those hands. It takes about 30 seconds to clean those hands off. And you got to hit that button. That's why it took so long. But I am just kidding. I do think, though, that there's been enough of, and I understand there's special circumstances to the situation that made it take longer. But I think overall, we've seen enough like inconsistencies, enough stuff take too long, like Martinsville last fall after the race trying to decide what happened. Like they do a lot of stuff by committee now. And I don't think I disagree with that. I just think it should be like the David Hoots era where you have like one guy each weekend. That's just like what they say is what goes. Throw a caution right there, and maybe that speeds it up 5 seconds, but it's speeding it up. Like at the end of the day, who cares about the overtime or the finish or all that? Like the caution flag, and that's the thing that annoys me about seeing people say stuff online is like, you got to remember the caution flag is for safety. It is not an entertainment flag, as Bryan just self-destructed live on the air. But it is for safety. And the most important thing there was, if Cody Ware was hurt, then that's 45 seconds where something could, every moment matters in the response team's time. So I just think we got to do something to pick up that time to where, and have maybe more cameras or more track corner workers or something like that, just from a safety perspective, to where if something does happen, because like if they miss a car fly into the tire barrier there, what's to say a fan doesn't run out there and nobody sees it or something, just something crazy. Somebody drives their street car out there coming out turn 6 or something. And so I just think overall you need more eyes and less committee stuff there. That's my constructive criticism.
If it was done intentionally, which I don't think it was, if it was done intentionally, I almost wish they would just admit it. I feel like it'd just be better. Like if they just said, yeah, we held the caution because you all scream about how much you hate overtime attempts turning into crap fest, turning into wreck fest. Like you think like Nashville 2024 was bad? You ain't seen that race would have been terrible if you saw overtime restarts after it rained, after a lightning hold, and after it with new guys on new tires sitting behind the guys on old tires. Like, you think that was bad? There'd be 3 more Cody Wares in turn 1. People would be locking up and hitting the tire. We do this all over and over and over. It'd be a demolition derby. Like, I think it turned out. I think the race turned out better because we didn't end up throwing the caution before that. I really honestly do.
I do think they would take less flack if they had thrown the caution and then said we're not doing overtime because lightning's in the area. So I think people would be. Yeah. I know there's a segment of fans that would complain no matter what happened.
Yeah,
but I think those with common sense would be like, oh, there's lightning in the area. They should call this race.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, and that's how it's been for years.
I mean, there's people that still don't want them to go into Chicago because, in the words of Jeff Gluck, there's people that told Jeff, you better have a bulletproof vest on wherever you walk. I mean, Dalton, we walked to our hotel at what?
I only got shot at 7 times this weekend. That's not that bad. Okay,
7?
So
it was me. I got shot at 11. What the hell?
They didn't.
But you guys were shooting at each other, to clarify.
Yeah, I was shooting. I was one of the guys shooting at you. So that was.
You sure you weren't on deployment, Dalton?
No, that was a different experience. Different experience.
But you know what was a good time though was this trip to Chicago, and it was an added bonus hanging out with jski.com and NASCAR.com. So Mr. Dustin Albino, Dusty, what are you going to be cooking up on J-Ski, and then anything coming on the interwebs on NASCAR for you?
We do, yeah, a lot of stuff on NASCAR.com. Weekly Xfinity column. This week it's on Brennan Poole. A feature on him, how he's overachieving this year and last year with Alpha Prime Racing. Got a top 10 over the weekend in Chicago. So look out for that on Wednesday. And then each week I have Fantasy Fastlane, where you can come along, go to NASCAR.com, play fantasy, and check out the work there.
Yeah, Dalton, Brennan Poole got a top 10.
Wow, really? That's crazy. I should have talked to him about it.
I know, you should have. Hashtag if you know, you know. Dalton, speaking of that, what are you going to be cooking up on the interwebs of Frontstretch.com, brother?
Yeah, so our lovely Steven Stump, our lovely NASCAR content director, decided to tell me today that I've got a VTC coming out tomorrow night, so I'm going to work on that tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. He asked me. He totally asked me. Like, and I said, yeah, I can get it done. So, we have I do have an article about Alpha Prime Racing. Yeah, Alpha Prime Racing, Dustin. So I guess we're writing about the same thing. It's not Brendan Poole, but it is Alpha Prime. So specifically Tommy Joe Martin. It'll be like a 5 years later kind of article after TJM decided to start his very first race team. So you can check that out either late tomorrow night or early Thursday morning. I'll have that coming out. And then we have Sonoma this weekend. So I will have Thinking Out Loud as well on Sunday afternoon.
I'm looking forward to that Tommy Joe piece because that man is a walking quote.
Dude, he's so
good.
awesome.
The funniest thing is that I had to split up the interview to 2 different days because I got the first half of it at Pocono, and it was literally like we were going to do it like an hour before the race, and then he was like talking to sponsors, and then I had to talk to him in the garage while pre-race ceremonies were occurring. So like in the audio, you can hear pre-race ceremonies going on, and then Harrison Burton, if you can remember, had left the garage. I remember. Yeah, you're right. I caught you right. I caught up with you right as he was pulling out. He came out of the garage. He was right next to us, so he fired up his engine, and we had to delay. We were like, yeah, we can't finish this right now, so I had to finish it later on. But yeah, you can. It was an interesting interview. He's really good.
That's going to be a must-read interview now. I mean, I can't write, but I certainly can read, and I'll be reading that interview coming up on Frontstretch.com. Mr. Michael Massie, a guy that can read and write. Are you going to be writing anything?
Yeah, I will write my Fire on Fridays column this week. I haven't decided where it'll be on yet. We'll see if anything happens these next few days, or maybe it could be about the lack of penalty for Chastain. Who knows? And then after that, I am off for a whole week. So you will not be seeing me here next week. There will be a fill-in. And yes, so I don't have to see y'all's ugly faces for a week. And I did want to end the show by saying that I'm still the only guy in the country with the perfect bracket. So.
You're not.
No, you're not. You're just not, though.
You're not.
I got one of the final 8 right.
I don't think I have any. Josh Berry's out, and now host of ours out.
Chase Elliott was my last Final Four person, and he's gone now.
So, but God, anything that you want to say? I think are we going to be seeing you, God, next week? Are you going to be taking Mr. Michael Massie's place?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. You get to see God's face next week. But you don't even have to wait till next week, because coming up next on the Frontstretch Podcast Network, we got Bringing the Heat with Trey Lau. He's got a special guest, that being Zane Smith, the driver of the number 38 car for Front Row Motorsports. So that's going to be a fun one, so check that out. And then Through the Gears with Wyatt Watson, all the latest betting odds. Last but not least, you got Stock Car Scoop every single Sunday, recapping all the latest. Dustin, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, buddy. And don't be a stranger. Let's have you on again.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun talking to you for the last hour, 10 minutes.
Last 48 hours, more like. But
Dalton, I do not need that sass from you, young man. For Dustin Albino, Dalton Hopkins, Michael Massie, I am Bryan Timothy Nolen. Thank you so much for joining us. This was another edition of Frontstretch's Happy Hour.